For nearly 5 years, The Pull Bag has been the GCRN's premier comic book review and discussion-based podcast. I'm Jesse Rass, and if you love comics as much as I do, then you really need to make the great escape into comics with TFG1 Mike and the rest of the GCRN crew, only inside The Pull Bag.
I really hate it when a plan doesn't come together.
I love it when a plan comes together.
Hello, folks. TFG1 Mike here from The Pull Bag, Geekcast Radio Network, all that good stuff. And we're about 2 months late on the Free Comic Book Day episode. I had planned to have various other people along with me to talk about all the comics that we all got of the same, if ComicRevolt Dan and I got the I Hate Fairyland one that released, or if Joe Reed and I got the Turtles Free Comic Book Day, I had all this big giant plans for this episode, and they just kind of all fell through. So what you're going to hear today is the one we did get to do, which is, as I mentioned, ComicRevolt Dan and I talking about I Hate Image 2017. This is the Image Comics Free Comic Book Day offering this year. All about I Hate Fairyland and how Gert and Larry end up in the Image offices. So enjoy. Sorry, I couldn't have gotten more done. The Pull Bag has got a fully loaded week this week because we start July. Actually, right now I'm recording this. It's July 1st. We're also going to have the end of last month's Robin Hood coverage released this first week, as well as the first of Jammin' July, where myself, Amy, and Nicole talk about the rest of the Gem comic series from IDW Publishing. But for now, enjoy ComicRevolt Dan and myself talking about I Hate Image. Our coverage of I Hate Fairyland will continue at some point soon, because I know Scotty Young has done the third arc of the series. At least that's what Comixology has told me. So yeah, enjoy, and I will see you in a minute.
Welcome to The Pull Bag. Join us as we dig out our latest comics and discuss them with a rotating panel of the GCRN crew. So sit back and enjoy this week's Pull Bag.
Alright, folks, it is time for a muffin fluffin' good time because we're heading on over to Image for Free Comic Book Day here inside the Pull Bag. Joining me is ComicRevolt Dan. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Yes, everybody already heard what I got for Free Comic Book Day, but what was your Free Comic Book Day 2017 like this year?
Oh, it was a grand old time. The first week of May is becoming, honestly, to me, the best weekend of the year for a lot of reasons. We have a huge Marvel movie tends to come out this year, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, last year Civil War. It's my son's birthday, and Free Comic Book Day, so it's like a trifecta of awesomeness. And I lucked out a lot because the movie theater that I went to, I was able to see Guardians, and right across the street, only a few feet away, was a comic book store. So it was like, you know, a mecca of geek goodness. So luckily the store I went to wasn't too crazy busy, but it was popping. So I was only able to get a few of the key free issues. They're only allowing 3 per person, which was fine. There were some I was interested in that I didn't pick up, but I picked up the ones I had the most desire to read. And for me, there were The Secret Empire / Spectacular Spider-Man from Marvel, which I gotta give Marvel credit. They've been doing a lot of stupid things recently, but their Free Comic Book Day, this story, like, this is a great story. Like, this is a free book that is, usually their free stuff is like some throwaway or a reprint. This is a very important story that has a huge ramifications to their major event this summer, and it's quite good, so I would highly recommend it. And the Spider-Man backup was pretty good as well. I also picked up Exo Man of War from Valiant, which they had a new relaunch this year. And if I don't think you read Valiant, but I would. For those people that complain about superhero universes, Valiant does it right. Like they have their game on. They kind of relaunched in 2012, and they've been great. So I picked up their Exo Man of War special this year, and then of course I Hate Image, which is just it's such a fun. This is like Scotty Young unhinged in the best ways possible. So this is great. This was so much fun.
I wasn't sure what this was going to. I mean, obviously I knew because it has the I Hate and it has the I Hate Fairyland logo kind of thing, except that it's got Image and obviously Gert's there. And folks, if you haven't heard Dan and I wax poetic about the I Hate Fairyland series, please go do that. All of those links will be in the podcast post for this episode of the Pull Bag. But, because at the end, when we did the last issues, 9 and 10, I had said that, Scotty had said in the book that issue 10 finishes off the second arc of the series, and he's going to go away and do other things for a while and come back to it eventually. So I was like, oh, okay, so we're done with I Hate Fairyland, and my life kind of feels kind of empty now because it was awesome when it was going on. And I was super surprised when I went to freecomicbookday.com and I saw that this was one of the... I'm like, hey, I know that series. But yeah, Image is celebrating their 25th anniversary this year, so that's awesome.
Yeah, they've been doing a lot of cool things. They had some 25-cent issues this year. I was kind of curious for you because I know like a lot of the books that are brought into this, are ones I don't think you're reading. So was it kind of like was it weird having like no context for like Saga or something like that? Just seeing all these. I mean, obviously Walking Dead's kind.
Walking Dead's, I mean, that's the most obvious part.
Yeah, Walking Dead's easy, but some of the other ones may not be. Like Black Science is not. Not as popular as some of the other ones. Because
of the fact that I do a comic podcast, I'm all over comic websites and things like that. Just because I'm not reading a certain publisher or a certain series from that publisher doesn't mean I don't know about it. Because you talk about Saga, everybody talks about Saga, I've heard of East of West, and I used to do, I don't do these anymore because honestly, I never got any feedback about them. I actually used to do solicitation episodes where... Instead of so this is what? This is May. The August solicitations for comics publishers will be coming out this month. So instead of doing a previews episode on what's coming out in August, I would do it as, okay, this is what's out in comic shops now. Go get this stuff now. I've read this, please. It's awesome. Go do it. So I keep up with almost all of the publishers. I keep up with certain Image stuff. I don't keep up with everything. There's certain Image series that I do want to try at some point, but there's just so much. I mean, the Pull Bag this year, folks, it's going to be a lot of IDW, a lot of DC. It's going to be... for me, IDW is the franchise, is the licensed guys, between Transformers and Back to the Future and Turtles and all that stuff. We're going to do 2 different DC months later on, Supergirl, I think, and Nightwing in November. And then Marvel in December of this year and January of next year, we're going to do Star Wars stuff. So, reading I Hate Image, I think the most shocking point for me was when she had to go see Tony Chu. Because I did read the first 2 volumes, and there is an episode of the Pull Bag where I talked about Chu from John Layman. But no, I was fine. What I like about it is that they use... I don't have the issue open quite yet, but... The letterers, when they do this, because I'm not sure if Scotty is doing the letter. No, it's Nate Picos of Blambot is doing the lettering in this. They bold out when they want to make a reference to one of the other titles.
Yeah.
And that's what I absolutely love. So going through this is Gertrude is she's beating somebody up because she wants information from this person. And it's got all the Scotty Young things. It's got the onomatopoeia, it's got the violence and whatever. It's got this poor chick with this purple black eye. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Because Gert is just beating the hell out of her.
And to clarify, this is from Bitch Planet. This is
okay. That's right. All right.
That's why in the first the second panel,
bitch.
It's written out there.
Yeah, so. That's right. Gert wants to know where the partners are,
where is this going? So we get the main character from the Bitch Planet series narrating throughout the rest of telling her where to go and what to do. And of course, Gert's not always going to, follow directions like she very rarely does. And what are the... Because you'll have to mention some of these series, because I know some, I don't know all of them. But, just ask, you'll need to get off this hunk of metal and get back down to the planet. I can call in a favor and get you a ride, but be careful. Whatever he asks, tell the truth. So what series is the guy and the cat from? That's
Saga. So that's
okay.
That's the infamous Lion Cat. Which, like, reading something like that, Lion Cat would be a great addition. Would have to be regular for I Hate Fairyland, because it does lead to some great comedy in this, obviously.
Yeah, it does. So Gert basically destroys their ship, and she's on the colorful brick road that turns into the gray and white or black and white brick road, and we have, a Walking Dead scene. Yay, Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Whatever. Zombies, I don't care. I have never seen...
the book is quite good.
Okay.
You know what I would recommend? I don't know if you have it or not, but I tried Comicology. They're like unlimited free for a month, and it has a bunch of image stuff now that you could read. Like, I think the first 3-4 volumes of Walking Dead, like a lot of image stuff. It's great. Like, I would recommend it. It won't I think it won't cost you anything. Read the first volume. I think the comic is, I think, legitimately really good. But I know you have possibly Harry Potter to watch, so there's a lot on your plate right now. So
hey, I might be getting paid for that, so
I won't pay you for that. But
no, not you. No. Yeah, I know. No.
That's a good service. Like, pay me to watch things. Well, I think actually people do that online, but yeah. So it's it's interesting. What's great is that obviously they keep Gertrude in color, and then being in the black and white world of Walking Dead. I do love that Scotty Young draws not Glenn, but Carl with a gigantic rocket launcher, which is pretty amazing. So
that's funny. Oh boy. And I should say, folks, I think I said it at the beginning of the podcast, but I don't remember. This is the first time, because Free Comic Book Day is basically go out and get free stuff from the shops. It's not on digital. Very rarely do Free Comic Book Day issues end up on digital. So we actually have physical comics. I haven't done a physical comic in ages on this podcast. So she ends up at this bar and getting information from that guy. The whole point of the issue is she goes through the entire land of Image. Runs into Tony Chu, like I said. Runs into the Paper Girls. That might be a series I'd want to try. Those girls look awesome.
I think you would. I think you would like Paper Girls. It harkens back to like Goonies. It's not like in the sense it's like these kids going on an adventure. It gets super crazy, and it's kind of like it's one of those series that you end up asking yourself a lot of questions and don't get a lot of answers. But yeah, a lot of things are included in this. Invincible is there, everything to even Chew, and Black Science, Southern Bastard, which is one of my favorite current comics. Yeah, and what is it? Descender. There's a little in the background. It's an Image wonder. It's like
Wicked Divine.
You have
Wicked
Roger
Divine,
Rabbit, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like that, but with Image World. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. What I love about this, the two best lines out of this is the whole thing with the Paper Girls and them referencing everything 80s, and Larry's like, it's an 80s thing. It happens. And then later when they go into the Wicked Divine Club, because that's a reference to the Wicked and Divine series, where they say, it's a nightclub run by some gods that dress up like David Bowie, R.I.P., and Prince, R.I.P. too, and play Boogie Woogie Revolution for days on end. Dance Revolution. And The narrator is saying, first, get up to the DJ booth. They'll look busy, but they're just pressing the play button on their music-fied playlists. I love how they basically just, derail the entire business of DJing. Take the mic and say these words exactly. The 90s sucked.
Yeah.
It's not true, but it'll be easier for you to get their guns that way. I just love that.
It's great because especially because speaking about 25 years, Image was such a huge impact in the 90s. It was probably its biggest most popular comics are coming out, and I love the way Scotty Young draws a lot of the 80s or 90s characters with just ridiculous amounts of pouches, and it's great. Some really some characters that I have not seen in a comic book in years. Some Chapel from Spawn. It's pretty fun. Youngblood characters. I think if you're an Image fan from back in the day to an Image fan now, it has a lot of great little Easter eggs all throughout.
And it even has Spawn sort of as well.
Yeah.
I love his line. I always wanted a sidekick so I could pull off this pose. Love that. So he takes her to Image Central, which is a giant door with a window that looks like a little lowercase I. And she goes in and she meets the partners and abruptly kills them all because she's been in Fairyland for 4 decades and she wants to know how she's going to get out. And she forgot to say, not kill one of them. So do we know who all of these people are?
All the writers and stuff?
Yeah.
Some of them I don't know for sure. I think Rob Liefeld might be there. I'm not. I'm pretty sure the guy that they first talked to, the first one that says, "Hey, bud, what you doing in our office and stuff, bud?"
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's Todd McFarlane because he's holding Spawn characters and whatnot.
Yeah.
There's Kirkman in the back. I'm not. I think Hickman's there and Jason Aaron, and so I'm not. I forgive me, but I know a lot more. I know a lot. I realize I know a lot of comic book characters, like their writers' names and stuff like that, but I don't know what a lot of them look like.
Yeah.
Which is kind of odd. But
she basically kills them all. And
I assume one of those are Scotty Young too, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I was wondering. I was wondering which one was going to be Scotty. I hope it's not the guy in the Top Cow t-shirt.
I don't think so because he never worked at Top Cow.
Yeah.
Like that, that for those who know, that was like another, brand of comics that they eventually bought. That still puts out stuff here and there. I think Eclipse that came out last year, I think was Top Cow, and that was quite a good series. But but yeah, so he just basically kills all the notable past Image and current Image writers and artists.
Yep, and it ends with, on the bright side, you call that guy glasses so your sick burns are still working. Are you making fun of my name-calling skills? What? No, the guy had glasses and you called him glasses. That takes real special kind of person to pull off that kind of quick thinking. Keep it up, and I'm going to pull some things off of you. It's a nice little introductory issue. It's a nice little real... It reminds me of... And I know people are going to hate when I say this. Reminds me of... it's not... It reminds me of Spider-Wars. The old 94 Marvel Spider-Man series, the very end of it, the very last dimension they go into is the real world. And Spider-Man, voiced by Christopher Daniel Barnes, meets up with an animated version of real-life Stan Lee. And that's what this really reminds me of, is Gertrude getting out of Fairyland somehow. That's the other thing. It doesn't even show you how... Well, Image Central isn't Fairyland, so she doesn't really get out. But it shows you her on some sort of adventure to figure out how she's going to get out of Fairyland, even though she eventually just ruins it herself. It doesn't... You don't need to have read the entire series of Fairyland, even though you should. As long as you're over the age of 21, because this comic is not for kids. Not at all.
I think you're 15 or above. You'll be fine.
It does say rated M mature, so I would say 17 or above. But anyway,
I think it depends on the person.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cartoon violence. I don't think it's like, it depends. Whatever.
Yeah, that's very true. I just absolutely love this because like I said, I was not expecting this. I was not expecting anything out of Fairyland for a while, and this was a nice little fun free comic book day surprise. What would you give this issue, 0 to 5?
Oh, geez, that's a good question. I give it a 4. I think it does a lot. It's a lot of fun. It's clearly a free comic book, so I mean maybe 4.5 because of the price point, but it complete. If you just like want something that is just like eye candy and a lot of fun, and if you're, like I said, a fan of Image at any point in your life, I would say you have to pick this up because it's a book that I think shows that Image as a company, the fact that they allow Scott Young to make it, does not take itself too seriously, which is I think key.
Yeah, very key. You mentioned price point. Yeah, there is no price point. Oh God, yeah. I gotta give it a 4.5 too. I mean, yeah, no. For a good story that was a free comic, I mean, most of the free comic book day stuff in general. I'm not singling anybody out, but just in general. It just depends on what the publisher want to do with what their selection is going to be, I guess. And some put in the time and effort and work through it, and some don't. Some use Free Comic Book Day, which is actually a good thing, to lead up to upcoming series or graphic novels or things like that. So, all right. Where can people find you online, sir?
You can find me on Twitter at ComicRevolt and all my articles and stuff at Geekcast Radio.
All right. We're going to move on to whatever the next title is going to be here in the Free Comic Book Day episode of The Pull Bag. We'll be back after this.
Because the world needs another movie podcast.
The Geekcast Radio Network presents for your listening pleasure The Cinema Geek.
Hosted by Amanda, Kevin, Matt, and Dan.
Each week we dive headfirst in the landscape of movies as we discuss movie news,
play movie games,
go in-depth on reviews,
and even have a top 10 countdown or two.
Also, don't miss our director retrospective series, where we review noted directors' movies film by film.
Bottom line is, if you love movies and love podcasts, you need to experience The Cinema Geeks.
You can find us on iTunes, Blog Talk Radio, or GeekCastRadio.com.
Let's go back. Go back to the late 80s, mid 90s.
When you need help, just call Rescue Rangers,
and talk about Disney Afternoon.
Let's get dangerous.
Episode 81 to 84 of Tooncast Beyond is all about the Disney Afternoon. Adventures of the Gummy Bears, Tailspin, Rescue Rangers, DuckTales, Darkwing Duck, Goof Troop, Bonkers maybe? Who knows? All that stuff, the Disney Afternoon, Spotlight coming soon here on Tooncast Beyond, only on GeekCastRadio.com.
Report to the
Hello, geeks and geekettes! Looking for a podcast that covers a vast array of topics? Then check out Altered Geek Unleashed, where we discuss our thoughts on this week's geeky news, tech, gaming, television shows, movies, cartoons, comics, and more. So, get altered, get geeky with the Altered Geeks. Every Friday on the Geekcast Radio Network.
Alright, everyone. Sorry about the shortness for the Free Comic Book Day issue or Free Comic Book Day podcast. As I said, we're 2 months late with this. So, the other free comic books I got were the DC Superhero Girls, the Loud House one, the Turtles one, because I always get that every year when IDW has one. And I also get the IDW Star Trek Mirror Broken Free Comic Book Day. I'll tell you right now, folks, at some point this year, hopefully, Steve Megatron and I will be able to look at the Star Trek Mirror Broken miniseries from IDW. This Free Comic Book Day kicks it off. This issue does. So,
that's what's also coming up inside the pull bag. As I said, July is Jam in July, where Amy, Nicole, and myself talk about the final arcs for the Gem IDW series, which include the Stingers arc, issues 19 to 23, the Misfits miniseries, issues 1 through 5, the annual 2017 and issues 24 to 26, which is the Truly Outrageous arc, and then we're going to do parts 1 through 3 of Gem Infinite, the first Gem and the Holograms full-on crossover series. After that, we go back to Transformers in August, because it's going to be Autobotly August. That's right. Ryan and I are going to finish off More Than Meets the Eye and Robots in Disguise, or More Than Meets the Eye and The Transformers, or whatever, with Transformers Titans Return. And then I realized, it's funny, folks, when you realize you think you didn't buy something when you actually already did, because the way I use Comixology now, I used to, when we first started the podcast, what I used to do was I used to subscribe to series of comics in Comixology. So if you have a series subscription on Comixology, whenever a new comic comes out, you get charged for that new comic. I don't do that anymore because I'm planning so far ahead for the pull bag. I usually just wait for the trade or whatever. Well, apparently, I've wanted to do the Autocracy, Monstrosity, Primacy series, the Flint Dille, Chris something. I forget what his name is. I'm so sorry, Chris. I forget what your last name is. But it's written by Flint Dille and Chris somebody. I know everyone's screaming at the top of their iPods, it's Chris Robinson, or it's Chris this, or it's Chris... I'm sorry. So, due to some scheduling conflicts with the Angels, Lady Wreck and Beatles Diva and Ha-E Prime, I'm moving the Windblade stuff, Distant Stars, which is the second Windblade trade series, and then the 2 Till All Are One trades. I'm moving that until later in the year, or maybe even beginning of 2018, because we're not going to be able to get it done properly, in a timely fashion. So I've got 3 spots open on the pull bag for Autobotly August. So, as I said, it's going to start out with Ryan and I doing Titans Return, finishing off the 2 ongoings. You may ask, well, what about Lost Light and Optimus Prime? We'll get to those eventually, folks. We will. So episode 149 is going to be Transformers Autocracy. 149.5 is going to be Monstrosity. And episode 150 of the podcast is going to be Transformers Primacy. The only reason why I do 0.5 episodes at times is so I can keep in with the numbers and I don't have to do 2 things in one podcast at times. But at the end of Autobotly August, we are going to have, because August is a 5 Wednesday month, so we're going to have, week 3 is going to be Transformers Sins of the Wreckers with Lady Wreck, myself, and Ryan the Uneven Flow Merkley, aka at Nightbeat on Twitter. And then Ryan and I are going to talk about Angry Birds Transformers, so there's that. And to close off Autobotly August this year, it's going to be Transformers Punishment, Redemption, and Salvation. 3 trades, 1 podcast. After that, originally I was going to do Supergirl September this year. I've been wanting to do Supergirl September for the New 52 Supergirl series. It's just never been able to happen with the host that I want to have on that. What I will say about September this year, folks, is you're going to get 4 weeks of varying comics. Hopefully myself and ComicRevolt Dan, ComicRevolt Dan, will talk about Hadrian's Wall from Image. It's Kyle Higgins, Alex Siegel, and Rod Rice. Gem Infinite, parts 4 to 6. So Amy and Nicole and I will do that. And then maybe we'll bring back A-Das Baron to talk about He-Man Thundercats at the end of September. So that's what's coming up between July and September, everybody. I hope everyone enjoyed this little episode of the podcast. And join us next time for the finale to the Robin Hood ongoing series, where Steve Megatron and I talk about Robin Hood Volume 4, Uprising. Dun, dun, dun. Make your greatest game in the comics, and we will catch you next time.
You've just heard the latest episode of The Pull Bag, the GCRN's comic review and discussion podcast. There are several ways to get in touch with us and leave feedback for the show. you can visit the website, geekcastradio.com, where you can comment on the episode and all of our different podcasts. You can rate our show on iTunes. Be sure to leave us feedback. Call the voicemail line, 502-526-5821. Please remember to tell us the show you are leaving the message for, and your name. Become a fan of us on Facebook by searching Geekcast Radio Network. Send us an email feedback at geekcastradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at GeekCastRadio. So until next time, make your great escape into comics and unleash the geek in you.